Sometimes some of us, we're just chasing that pleasure, that, what Prabhupada called it, phantasmagoria. Like that. So, therefore, the example of the great devotees, Kardama Muni, Devahuti, etc., great yogis, Mahayogi, Yoga Lakshana. Lakshana means decoration, I think, so like Bhushana, Lakshana. One of the characteristics, like the ladies wear earrings and different things like that. So she was Yoga Lakshana. She was adorned with the power of yoga, like that. So, Srila Prabhupada chooses in this particular purport to emphasize the importance of yoga. And he calls Kardama Muni a great yogi. So the question that we need to ask is, what is yoga? Right? There are many speculations about what yoga is, especially nowadays. Like Banu Maharaj was explaining here last year, that he says it's very simple to define the yoga schools nowadays. Anybody remembers that class? I was impressed. He says one of the characteristics of yoga schools nowadays is that they have the least shastra. The least shastra. Right? So the less shastra, the more attractive, appealing, cool type of yoga. Now so many yogas are coming up. Every so often this yoga, that yoga, everything yoga, put it there. Yoga, because yoga has become a big business. What does Prabhupada says here at the end? Who remembers? Or something like, anybody remembers? Huh? There's no recommendation in the Vedic scriptures that one can go on and join material sense gratification at one's whims, as one likes, and at the same time become a great meditator or a yogi by what? Paying a rascal some money. So, Prabhupada, all what Prabhupada is doing is representing what the Shastras present. In the Shastras, let's say it's Srimad Bhagavatam. I've been reprimanded not to always turn the Bhagavatam into a Gita class. So people come to hear Bhagavatam. Okay, so let's keep it in the Bhagavatam. Although Prabhupada does that too. The Bhagavatam says, the second verse of Bhagavatam, what's that verse? Dharma projita kaitabo. That this Srimad Bhagavatam rejects dharma or duties or so-called religiosity or so-called spirituality, that it's fake, cheating dharma, cheating yoga. This is yoga. So this is what Prabhupada is presenting here, the real yoga. So the question is, what is real yoga? You're all yogis, bhakti yogis. What is real yoga? You know the answer anyway. Connecting, yes, with God that has a name, a surname, an address, and phone number, as Prabhupada often says. Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. Yeah, that's real yoga. This morning, Srila Prabhupada said, not this morning, that was maybe 50 plus years ago. But Prabhupada says, the highest yoga, you know what the highest yoga, he says? It's amazing. I was just thinking, let me look, because there's no, at least not that I have, recorded lectures Prabhupada in this chapter. There's, I think, from the 25th chapter. So I was hearing something from Prabhupada further. But it's practically all that section that talks about yoga. Prabhupada is explaining yoga. And he says the highest yoga is preach Krishna consciousness. So let me see what Prabhupada has to say about this. And the first thing practically that he says, the highest yoga is to preach Krishna consciousness. Amazing. Now let's unpack that, and Prabhupada does unpack that in his class. Why do you think Prabhupada would say something like that? The highest yoga is to preach Krishna consciousness. They're Prabhupada's words. Anyone? Thank you. Exactly on the nail. Sri Caitanya Manobhistam. Right? There are many yogis. Yoginam api sarvisam. 647, Bhagavad Gita. The highest yogi is the one that is connected with me. Yoginam api sarvisam. Remember that? Yoginam api sarvisam. Mat gatena antaratmana. The one that carries me within himself or herself. Shradhavam bhajate yomam. Same yukta tamo mataha. Krishna explains who is the highest yogi, the one who's connected with him. And Srila Prabhupada explains that the person who's able to connect with the desire of the Lord, that is the highest yogi. And therefore he quotes Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam. What is that verse referring to? Who knows that? Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam verse. Srila Rupa Goswami, right there. Srila Rupa Goswami, the head of the Goswamis. Srila Rupa Goswami. So, Rupa Goswami was thinking, if we can put it simply, what does my Lord want? What does Krishna want? Right? We come in front of the deities, we see the form of the Lord every day. And then what do? We admire his beauty. We admire how the pujaris have decorated the deities that day, and the turbans and the flowers and the color matching and all the intricate things that the pujaris do. And it's amazing, you know? Everything, so much devotion. But do we ever think, what is Krishna thinking right now? I mean, he thinks, right? Does he? Yeah. In the Shishupanishad, we have been studying Shishupanishad for the last couple months. And it says there that Krishna is a Muni. He's a philosopher. Prabhupada translates. He's a philosopher. So what is a philosopher? Someone that thinks. Correct? Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita also several times he says, Mama Matir. This is my opinion. Literally means this is my head. Right? Like you have a, head space. You know what? Head space. A mental state. Thinking power. So Krishna, just like he has feet, has hands, has face, etc. Right? He also has a mind. So Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam. He's thinking something. And what is he thinking? Basically, if you can have a guess. I mean, he's thinking many things, but what do you think he's thinking? He knows everything. You should be here.
In the Bhagavatam, where it talks about how the living entity, lifetime after lifetime, continuously got their back towards Krishna. Krishna's always there. When are you going to turn to me? When are you going to turn to me? Waiting for the devotee to turn towards you.
He's just waiting.
Yeah, waiting.
Amazing. We were studying the Gita and also Upanishad, and something that attracted everyone's attention was how Paramatma is with us all the time, right? Paramatma, the lawyer, he's the lawyer in the heart, right? And one simple way that we remembered, and many of the devotees remembered it also kind of a humorous way, the Upanishads, they give this analogy that there are two birds in the tree, right? And there is the Jivatma bird, right? And it's eating and, doing things. You see birds, they don't look spaced out and bored and depressed. They're working, they're into it, right? Looking for the worm and whatever they're doing. But there's a super bird, right? Just sitting somewhere in the tree of our life, and just waiting. As Prabhu explained, he's just waiting. What is he waiting for? Prabhu says he's waiting. What is he waiting for? Our attention. That's what the Upanishad says. Prabhupada quotes in the 2nd chapter. That turns, its attention and becomes somewhat favorable. Somewhat favorable. And I was hearing yesterday Mayaprabhu's class and Navina Prabhu, the famous book distributor. He was saying that moment, he wasn't referring to that verse exactly, but I connected it because the way he presented it. He said, there's a moment that Krishna appeared in your life. There's a moment that Krishna appeared in your life. And if I'm sure that all of you would remember that moment. Somehow. Maybe there were a few moments, but I still remember the first time I saw the devotees. I was 7 years old, 1970 or 71, in America, in New York. I was a kid. They're going to cut my hair. I hated my hair being cut. I hated it. I will cry, throw tantrums. Never liked my hair to be cut. Here I am. And they were taking me to the barber shop, my mom and my auntie, and then I saw the Harinam coming there. 1970, 71, Sure Prabhupada was somewhere in the planet. And still I remember. I have said this many times. And then maybe the first time that somebody approached you with a book. Like that. So Krishna appears in your life, just like Narada Muni. Yeah? Not exactly, but Narada Muni, he heard from the Bhaktivedantas. And we may have heard from some Bhaktivedantas in our previous lives. And in this life, by Krishna's mercy, he sent some devotee, hey, I have a book for you, or here, have some prasadam, like that. So Krishna appeared in our lives because we have practiced, as Prabhupada explained, this in our previous lives. Generally the devotee says, no, I have not, I never heard the word Krishna. I mean, South America is the farthest place from the Holy Dham. The farthest. You cannot, you're in the ocean either way. So that's the farthest place. So how is it that, the devotees were so attractive? I was just like, what's that? What's that? In those days was the hippie era. And everyone had long, long hairs. Everybody. Yeah. I remember my cousin's boyfriend and everyone around. It was the hippies, And these people were like angels, like almost floating. So Krishna appears in our lives. And it depends, Prabhu said, Krishna is waiting. Krishna is waiting to see your response. And your response, if it's favorable, normally, because there are exceptions, if it's favorable, then Krishna gives you more. Right? That's the thing. It might be some kind of admiration of sort. Oh, wow, this is far out. Huh? And then I remember then we moved to LA. And my dad took me to find some apartments. We were going to rent an apartment in Glendale. I remember the suburb. And we were looking at an apartment that we ended up renting eventually. My mom stayed back in New York, New Jersey. And I remember that we were opening the windows. He, I was a little kid, so he told me, check. He always told me to do something so I don't do mischief because I was very naughty. He says, check if all the doors and windows work. So I was opening and closing and checking. Just that. And then I opened the street door, the street window. And then I saw the devotees. Huge Harinam, bigger than the one that I saw in New York. Another, like maybe after a couple months, I don't know exactly, I remember. So the devotees again appear like that, And I said, hey, Dad, look. These are the people that I saw in New York. Like almost saying, they're my friends. So Krishna appears. Why? Because he wants us to reconnect. That's what yoga means. And that's the highest yoga. So eventually, by the association of devotees, one is able to understand. This is what Krishna wants. Let me do that. Karishye vachanam tava. Let me do as you say. So the question that we have to ask is, how much bhakti yoga are we really practicing? How much are we willingly trying at least to do what Krishna wants me to do? It's not easy. It's not easy. Why? Because we are so used to not doing that. We're doing exactly the opposite. And sometimes the problem is, and that's why the acharyas have written so many literatures, have written so many songs and poems,